a certain area of the brain, thus making him submissive to the will of those who wish to govern him, is what is called a light lobotomy. The real reason behind water fluoridation is not to benefit children's teeth. The real purpose behind water fluoridation is to reduce the resistance of the masses to domination and control and loss of liberty. I was told of this entire scheme by a German chemist, and this was telling you, any person who drinks artificially fluorinated water for a period of 1 year or more will never again be the same person mentally or physically. Fluoride remains one of the strongest antipsychotic substances. It's in all of your medications. Dimethyltryptamine, it just destroys all of these. The stuff that your brain makes, it destroys. Impedes higher consciousness. And where is it? Of course, it's there. And they tell you, what do they tell you? If more than is used for brushing is accidentally swallowed, get medical help. Or contact your poison control center. That's what you brush your teeth with. They're telling you that if you should accidentally, or one of your children should start eating toothpaste, you're poisoning yourself. There they are. All the water, Deer Park, Arrowhead, Deja Blue, Zephyrus, and these are the point ratios and references to the amount that is in there. Poland Spring, Ozark, Pure Life, Ice Mountain, all of these, Avion. All of them. But that's not all. They go after your children. Mixed with formula, juice, and cereal from birth. From birth. Fluoride to go. All of y'all want to gargle? Get your children to gargle? Well, what are they gargling with? They're gargling with fluoride. You gargle with Listerine? Children under 12, do not use. Now let's get into the business of this. Here's why they hate me on the Feminist Network. Because feminism was the one who supported the rise of homosexuality. Most people don't know that, but it's in my book, The Wounded Womb. Fluoride and the disappearing male, from virility to sterility. Now, there's a book out there, World Without Men. I wonder how she came about. And this creature, what social purpose does he have in uplifting the society and the community? What endearing contribution has he made, except maybe tucking his genitals between his legs? Because he's still a man. No, he hasn't gone through the cut yet. He hasn't got a cut yet. All right, now let's go through some things that most people don't like to hear. Feminist, this is a feminist t-shirt that I found. Boys lie, poke them in the eye. Boys are stupid, throw rocks at them. Boys are dumb. Now, you want to know why it is that 60% of the dropout rate were boys? And 85% of black women having PhDs are the only ones that were having a PhD? You think that's, men got stupid over one generation? Most people who deal with feminism don't realize, especially white feminism, has filtered in through the Oprahs and even the Angela Davises. You don't understand that when these people were co-opted, they co-opted the civil rights movement by putting the civil rights banner up around homosexuality as a civil right. They made a biological happenstance, a political happenstance. They made a biological deformity and a sickness. It's a known fact that several environmental contaminants are able to cross the placenta and reach the fetus. In the past 5 years, body burden tests have shown that amniotic blood contains hundreds of toxic chemicals presently existing in the bodies of modern-day mothers. At critical windows of vulnerability during fetal development, maternal exposure to toxic chemicals is enough to permanently harm the child, causing diseases and disabilities in children and across the entire span of his or her life. Dr. Theo Colbin, president of the Endocrine Disruption Exchange, states, "There are more and more studies showing that before birth, between fertilization and birth, something's happening to boys. Basically, they die before they are born." And I don't mean die in the physical body, I don't think. They die as men because as boys they've been disfigured. Now understand, this is deep science because these bastards are working in laboratories to find real secret esoteric ways to castrate you as men and to make you infertile as women. This is the agenda for Agenda 21. To crop the population. Doctors and researchers now suspect chemicals such as fluorides are responsible for many of these problems, a class of common chemicals that are ubiquitous in our world. Found in pretty much everything from shampoo, sunglasses, meat and dairy products, carpet, cosmetics, and baby bottles. They are called hormone-mimicking or endocrine-disrupting chemicals, and they are damaging the most basic building blocks of human development. Fact sheet, male infertility. Point, item. There are more than 20 heavily industrialized nations where the birth of baby boys has declined every year for the past 30 years, amounting to 3 million fewer baby boys. Fluoride is a main contributor to infertility. Item. The number of boys born with penis abnormalities and genital defects has increased by 200% in the past 2 decades. Item. Boys have a higher incidence of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, learning disabilities, Tourette's syndrome, cerebral palsy, and dyslexia. Item. Boys are 4 times as likely to be autistic. Item. The average sperm count in a North American college student today is less than half of what it was 50 years ago. Item. The quality of sperm is declining. 85% of the sperm produced by a healthy male is DNA damaged. Damaged sperm have been linked to at least 300% increase in testicular cancer, a form of cancer that affects young men in their 20s and their 30s. Item. The chemical industry has developed more than 90,000 man-made chemicals in the past 60 years. 85% of them have never undergone testing for their impact on the human body. Item. Women's exposure to environmental contaminants that mimic the activity of human sex hormones during prenatal development can affect the masculinity and femininity of their offspring. This is David Sandberg, PhD, University of Buffalo. Gender-bending chemicals mimicking the female hormone estrogen that can disrupt the development of baby boys suggests the first evidence linking certain chemicals in everyday plastics to effects in humans. The chemicals implicated are phthalates. Hold on. No. Phthalates. Phthalates. It's another pronunciation, but it always gets me. Which makes plastics more pliable in many cosmetics, toys, baby feeding bottles, and paints, and can leak into water and food. All previous studies suggesting these chemicals blunt the influence of the male hormone testosterone on healthy development of males have been in animals. This research highlights the need for tougher controls of gender-bending chemicals, says Gwen Lyons, toxic advisor to the WWF and the World Wildlife Fund in the United Kingdom. Otherwise, wildlife and baby boys will be the losers. Endocrine disruptors at high exposures will expose boys to suffer from testicular dysgenesis syndrome, the human collection of more serious abnormalities which corresponds to phthalate syndrome. Now, what is testicular dysgenesis syndrome? Is when the testicles don't drop. They want to stay up as ovaries. They're trying to become ovaries again. In the UK, it is a matter of some concern that 2 nationwide surveys in 2003, which assessed the effluent from 43 sewage treatment works on 2 separate occasions using the YAS. Who's out there using YAS? Remember YAS? Yeast androgen assay, have revealed that 77% of the samples had anti-androgenic activities of 50 microns per liter of fluorinate or flutamide, equivalent to Fe. Now, part of the incidence of the water that you get from out of your sink is because women who are using birth control, the urine has the offshoot of these birth control materials. When they go through the system that cleans the water before it's returned to you, it doesn't remove it. Flutamide is an anti-androgenic. When you say andro, you mean male. Anti-androgenic pharmaceutical compound that has been used as a comparative measure of anti-androgenic activity. Anti-androgenic pollutants have the potential to demasculinize males and affect their ability to reproduce. As of November 2008, the chemicals responsible for the anti-androgenic activity in the effluents has not been identified. In addition to contaminants with anti-androgenic effects, many effluents also contain chemicals with estrogenic action, and these contaminants have the ability to feminize males. I'm giving you all this for a reason. Hang on. Phthalates inhibit testosterone synthesis during fetal life. The dioxins alter androgen-dependent tissues. Also, the pesticides vinclozolin, procimidone, lineron, and DDT metabolite all are androgen receptor antagonists that derail the process of masculinization. Phthalates are found on vinyl flooring, shower curtains, solvent plastics, PVCs, banned in cosmetics in the EU. Parabens are in your shampoos and the other materials. Antibacterial chemical used in soaps, toothpaste, and chopping boards. PCBs found in electrical circuits, paints, brake linings, flame retardants. They're all here for you to read and check. So you can take the shot and look at it. Now they're also placed in or bathed in these materials. So unless you're getting complete organic fruits and vegetables, you're 9 times out of 10, you have some kind of androgenic disruptor in your food. This is not only for men. It doesn't only happen with men. It happens with women. It affects them with the breast cancers. When I helped my wife get rid of her breast cancer, she was on her way in to have a mastectomy and a lumpectomy. 2 weeks away from one. Both of them. I said, you're not going anywhere. Because cancer is not a killer. Cancer doesn't kill, the doctor kills you. It's iatrogenic manslaughter. Cancer is the last ditch effort of the body to isolate whatever it is that has been poisoning it. The doctor goes in and says, let me take a little piece to see if it is this or that, and just releases everything back into the bloodstream. When you cut a cancer, it spreads. Automatic. You don't get rid of the problem. All you do is just redistribute it. Cancer does not kill. And I defy anybody to tell me that cancer kills or show me how cancer kills, unless you have now weaponized it. But cancer is the last ditch effort. The body is always towards life. It's never trying to take its own life. Every disease you feel, everything that discomfort, everything that the body does to bring itself back into normalcy, the pains you suffer are all part of the healing process. We have a saying at our university. It's called orthopathy. It means correct suffering. Think about that. Now, let's get down to what this is about. Homosexuality as a birth defect, a congenital disorder. Now, with everything that I showed you in the beginning part, remember you're in college. This is a perfect place. Now you're in college. This is what you got, the previous information is now going to bear this out. These are my words here. These are what I came up with. You can come up with your own to explain it. Now, there's two different types. There's category 1 in what you deal with as what we call congenital disorders or congenital birth defects. Category 1 to me is a congenital glitch in the archetypal design leading to physiological mutation of the organism. Okay, so category 1 is discernible congenital pathology. You can see that there was a pathology and it came out in the looks and in the visual formation of the child. So when we speak about that, we see visually what that's about. Category 2 now is indiscernible congenital pathology, which means congenital glitch in the archetypal design leading to the physiological mutation and psychobehavioral malfunction of the organs. Now, see, they'll never take you this deeply into what homosexuality really is today. But you're going to get it. You're going to have an argument that is going to completely cancel their nonsense. I'm going to give you some things that you could talk with them about. There are two discernible ways that you could see a birth defect. Today, you're going to know that homosexuality is a birth defect if it came through the womb and was not learned. But even if it's learned, there has to be some form of energy that was already predisposing it, laying in stasis. So, at this point, let us focus primarily on what may be the congenital origins of homosexuality, since genital hierarchy or heredity as a cause may be more difficult to triangulate if two heterosexual parents are giving birth to a homosexual child. So first, the definition of the word congenital. Existing at birth, but not hereditary. Existing at birth, but not hereditary. Understand what that means, family. It was not passed on. Something happened in the womb. Something happened in the developmental stages of that child where, after the blossoming from, when it goes along the tract, and I explained it in my book, where it either goes down to become a penis and the testicles drop, or it goes horizontal to become the ovaries and the womb. Something is happening in between that time with the developmental stages, because remember, it is the masculine principle that determines the sexuality. It is his desire in his blood as he is making love, or his feelings that tincture the sperm. The sperm, his desire, is aggressive, it's masculine. So it changes the programming for a masculine child to get to that egg. His feelings, if he's deeply into his feelings at that time, and we go from back to forth, we have that, so that feelings of desire and feelings. If he has more of a feeling energy, which is a vibration in itself, then he has tinctured his sperm to make a female. So his determinative, and then of course you're going to say, get out of here, that's so unscientific. But guess what? Science is catching up to the metaphysics and the chemetaphysics now. So what you're getting is not what they're going to teach you, but maybe 10 years from now you're going to see a little blurb, scientists have found. And I keep getting that from all my students from 10, 15 years ago. Keeps getting verification of what we were teaching back then. So existing but not hereditary, acquired during development of the uterus and not through heredity, constituting an essential characteristic. What do we see? I was born this way. So how could what I am and what I do be biologically and morally wrong? It's inborn, not a conscious choice. It's genetic. Okay? Spanish preview here could help me out. Lo orientamento sessuale no è una scelta. Of course, I butchered it, so, forgive me. Means sexual orientation is not a choice. Of course not. Okay? But you did choose your body. That's a whole other science. And they don't want you to know that. So this just happens. Everything is accident. No! Everything follows a course and a plan. So, here's what we'll go to category 1. Here is what a congenital birth defect looks like when you're dealing with congenital birth defects. What is a birth defect? You can see it. This is category 1. A congenital birth defect is something that you can physically see. In the development of that child, the child did not come out the way a human baby is supposed to look, as reflective of its mother and its father. Something is deformed in this child during the developmental process. Check? Check. Thank you. I know you're all asleep and I'm sleep teaching at this point. I'm only kidding. So we see that there are some children who are born without eyes. We see albinos being born. We see the children that are coming out. I mean, it's heartbreaking to see this situation. Okay? And of course you see it again. Children who are born with these defects. This is a congenital disease. This is one you could see. But what if it's one that you can't see? What if there's a congenital birth defect that cannot be seen, but only displayed as a behaviorism?
Should be displayed at track, right?
What if behaviorism is also a congenital disease? Orientation towards your own sense of gender self. Because in my book I say design denotes function. That's one of my sayings. It's copyrighted. Design denotes function. Design denotes function. It's not just to attract and, wow, that looks good because it's bouncing around. No, it has a function. These hanging around and bulging out and looking funny. Men, we look really stupid walking around with an erection. That is the dumbest looking, most comical thing on there. But when we use it correctly, there's no joking. There's no laughing. There's only screaming and joy. So it may look funny as we're walking around with it. But understand what I'm saying to you. Design denotes function. Okay? Keep that in mind. That's very important to understand. That's what you have to give them back. You don't let them try to get at you by telling you a lot of other nonsense. Design denotes function. What is another term for homosexuality psychologically? What do you think it is? Yes. What I call psychosomatic narcissism or narcissistic personality disorder. Okay? Psychosomatic means of or pertaining to a phenomenon that are both physiological and psychological, somatic and psychic, pertaining to a partially or wholly psychogenic disease, or psychological disorder, one who experiences bodily symptoms as a result of a mental conflict, dissonance. Narcissism is excessive love or admiration for oneself, standing in the mirror, looking at, oh my God, I am so beautiful. Okay? And that's what we're into today. For oneself. Selfies. What do you think selfie is? It's a serious narcissism when I'm seeing, the brothers up there, doing all of this and stuff, taking pictures so they can show you. And women over there are doing all these pictures over there to show what? An arresting of development at or a regression to an infantile stage of development in which one's own body is the object of erotic interest. Think about that. That one's own body is the object of erotic interest. Think about that when we go on to the next stage. Who was Narcissus? Narcissus or Narcissus was a hero from the territory of Thespe in Boeotia who was renowned for his beauty. In the various stories of the Greeks and the Romans, he was depicted as being exceptionally cruel in that he was said to disdain those who even loved him. As divine punishment handed down by the god Nemesis, he falls obsessively in love with his reflection in a pool. Not realizing it was his own reflection, he dies there, not being able to leave the beauty of his own reflection. He dies there. Keep these things in mind as I'm saying what I'm saying to you, because they have a purpose. These words are not just randomly chosen. He dies there. What do I mean by that? Well, let's go forward. Metaphysically, What is homosexuality except a man or woman falling in love with themselves? If a woman stands across from another woman and wants that body, if a man is standing over there across from another man and says, oh my God, I want that body sexually, what does that mean? What is in that mindset? What has twisted the wiring where the opposites are supposed to attract to bring back unity? We're not talking about anything that's natural. Listen carefully. So hopelessly self-indulgent, in fact, that they crave to physically and psychospiritually feel themselves, possess themselves through intimacy with others of the same sex. Psychospiritually, homosexual sex is an elaborate form of mutual masturbation, in that the end result of the act never, ever could be furtive. Result in the continuation of the species, which is essentially the foundation of the act. In logical point of fact, staunch homosexuals are cosmic nihilists, possessing terminal psychophysiologies, in that their lack of reproductive interest in the opposite sex is a form of self-negation and genetic termination, where virility, potency, and fertility interact to cancel themselves out. Must be put in future. Do we need clarifications of what I'm saying? Because you're getting a very deep lesson in what to tell those, and of course this is PG, people and other people who are supporting this in their insanity and in their ignorance and in their, okay, it's all good, everybody can be themselves. You don't understand what it is that these people have in mind. If there were one or two or just a few people, it was just fine. But when they want tens of thousands and millions of us to take over political, entertainment, education, there is an agenda. To inevitably fulfill its ultimate purpose. If you are born with a penis and you have tendencies and the build, the strength, and the sperm that was given to you in that design, why would you want to deposit it in the rectum of another man? You have to think about the insanity of what it is that the act is supposed to represent. Now they say it's all love. It's love, yeah, love. But you can be dysfunctional in love too. I've seen some real loving relationships that, they're pretty much like, you ever saw the movie The War of the Roses? Yeah, love relationships can be really, if you want to call it love, that's not really love. That's a kind of a displaced form of affection and a kind of a lust. You can love a brother as I love my brothers, but I don't want to have to bed them down. That function goes beyond what love really is. Okay? Let's go to the next. Put another way, if design denotes function, and function must ultimately follow and fulfill the purpose of design, what then must be assumed when the mind of said organism operates contrary to the ultimate intention of the design that houses it? Answer, a mutation of organomechanics, leading to a physiological or psychological malfunction of the organism. So I put these there to show that they have designs that were supposed to show functions. If you deviate from the design, that's not you evolving to any place. That's a devolutionary process. Now I can give you some fluoride detoxificants. There is a substance that you get from India and different parts of the world called shilajit or shilajit. And you can get it in the substance itself. It's what they call fulvic acid. Okay? And shilajit makes elemental minerals more absorbable by complementing or complexing them, or refines and purifies and combines them and re-refines them into organic ionic forms that are easily transported into and through membranes and cell walls. Once the nutrients meld into the fulvic acid complex, they become bioactive and bioavailable. Consumption of shilajit Shilajit by humans for many years has shown that organic minerals will not build up in the body tissues as do metallic minerals. The following observations and theories describe the reasons why cells have the ability to accept or reject minerals including aluminum, lead, arsenic, mercury, etc. at their discretion when presented as organic fulvic acid complexes. So, the reason why we like so much the Juice Plus and these materials here that we're showing you, you can get these online, that they can get directly into the blood-brain barrier, they can get right into the cells welcome them, and then they take whatever potencies that may be sitting in the fat tissues and make them more available for distribution out of the body. In other words, sometimes when the body becomes too toxic, the body creates fat to surround the toxic material and stores it, so that it can leach it out very slowly so it doesn't poison the entire organism. Okay? So you can deal with this. Again, this shows, I don't want to get too much involved, I want to get to the questions and answer, trace minerals and essential amino acids. You can get that as well in the Juice Plus products, which is what we have tested on ourselves. Another thing is the nanocolloidal cell wall decimated chlorella. It has to be organic. You can get these materials and you can take them, and that will, it acts as a kind of chelator. The chelation process takes toxicity and poisons out of the system, okay, and keeps it, you know, pretty much well purified. So many toxins you're either breathing or drinking too, so that's the other thing, brothers and sisters. You have to consistently be vigilant. Let's go to the next. Other heavy metal chelators, and this is some of the other things I've put up there for you. Homeopathic carduces, or cardus, marinios, known in herbology as milk thistle, silymarin. And you can get these in their, it's best to get them in their homeopathic forms. You don't want to take them directly off the root because the compounds in there are not actually, you don't know what they are. You don't know whether or not the compounds you're using in herbs, because we don't use herbs like that too tough anymore. You can't use herbs just indiscriminately because it's a tolerance process as well. If you're getting wild herbs, you can't take, say for instance, foxglove and put it on your salad dressing as a salad. You have to be very careful because herbs were not meant for you in the beginning. Trust me, if you're biblical minded, you'll see that the herbs were actually for the animals. What were you supposed to eat? The fruits of the trees. Understand and understand that your things grow on trees, and that because you're visual, you deal with color. So all the fruits and vegetables that were there, that were in the colors, that's what's supposed to attract you. That's what you're supposed to be eating. Okay? All these domesticated foods that you have, even the lettuce. Lettuce comes from what? Lete, which is actually means milk. Because the herb itself that it was domesticated from, when you broke it, it bled a white substance. It looked like milk. And you can't take that because it will get you sick. Plum bum, which is actually a lead derivative that helps to take out lead in the body, which is something that we recommend to children who are living in poor environments and they've been taking in that lead. But you got to remember too that the lead was protecting us from radiation. That's why you don't have any lead-based paint anymore. That's why your home now is open to all kinds of radiation coming from outside. Homeopathic corundum and sativum. Now this word sativa means helpful. So when you say cannabis sativa, you knew it was helpful to humanity. So the hemp plant was cannabis sativa. Right? So, you know, I don't mean you smoking it and doing it to the chalice. That too can rob you of your masculinity, because the tetrahydrocannabinol is fat. It secures itself in fat. And a lot of Rastas have come to me and asked me to help them have children. I told them you have to put the chalice down for a minute, because your brain is 1/3 fat. Think about that. Vitamin B6 needed in the metabolic process that converts methionine to cysteine and into glutathione, which is one of the amino acids that is necessary for your body. Now, very quickly, I want to deal with things that you could start taking pictures of. What is home should things start going south, which may do happen within the next 3 to 4 months, or maybe the next year. Because 2017 things are going to change with some serious. We're heading into 2020, like I keep telling everybody, the real changes are not going to come until then. So here's your emergency steel wool. You're going to see it run all the way down. Okay, Bowie knife, machete, sharpening stones, Swiss Army knives. These are excellent. Tetracycline, topical antibiotics, knee pads, face masks, everything. Goggles for ballistic protection, the ones that they deal with ballistic protections. Double wool poncho, mosquito netting. I'm telling you, wherever you are living, just formulate these to what you need, where you need them. Condoms, good for holding water and other things too. Right? Because, yeah, they blow up like a balloon. You can hold water in them. Okay? Khaki fatigues with multiple pockets, boots, heavy duty, a butt pack, razors, loose, rifle with scope, shotgun, pistol, Glock, Waller PPK. My favorites. Anyway, making sure, as far as circumstances are concerned, that's all right. Belongs down there. Let's go to here's some more. You want to take your pictures to make sure that you have your first aid instruction booklet, sterile non-stick bandages, scissors, thermometers, so forth, needles. I'm giving you all these because they're essentials when it comes to that. Now, for those of you living in regions where there's snakes, so that you can start know that non-poisonous snakes' heads are round, because the fact that they're round means that they don't have a point. In other words, the ones who are poisonous and whose snakes come to an arrowhead is because that's where they strike. Their visual acuity is towards their victim so that they can strike. Whereas if you look at the round-headed ones, the eyes, the nose is broader, so their scope is more to the horizontal than it is to the vertical, so they can strike. So the head is rounded, the fangs are not present, the pupils are rounded, the anal plate is double rowed with plates, the bite marks, row of small teeth. You can see the non-spotted. But the poisonous snakes, the head is a triangle, except the cobra, by the way. Fangs present because they use sonic frequencies to identify you. Okay, to hear your heartbeat, to know where you are. Pupils, elliptical pupils, which are slit. Anal plate, a single row of plates. Bite marks, just a fang. There are approximately 2,500 different species of snakes known. About 20% of the total number are poisonous, are actually poisonous. So you get to look and see what it is that you're looking at so that you know when you see them. Don't be afraid of every one of them. Sometimes we kill the good with the bad, the ones that keep the rats and all the other ones out. Let me go back one. Okay, what to do if bitten? Many have died because reported from shock due to fright. Even when the bites were of non-poisonous snakes. They died because they were afraid. Therefore, it is vital to reassure the patient. Not all snakes are poisonous. Reassurance helps reduce anxiety related to high blood pressure, palpitations, tremors, sweating, and rapid breathing. Also, not all poisonous snakes are fully charged with venom. Okay? Even those that are fully charged don't always inject a lethal dose. They strike quickly and then come back. But there are certain snakes that even that will paralyze you and take you down. Like the coral snake, where I was growing up in Trinidad, they had a little song to show you which one was the harmless one and which one was the one that you had to stay away from. Check if the bite is due to a poisonous or non-poisonous snake. You see what it says there. According to American Red Cross, one should wash the bite with Castile soap, non-flavored, the pure one. Immobilize the bitten area. Keep it lower than the level of the heart. So don't raise if you're bitten on the leg, don't lay them down and raise the leg. It's ridiculous. Okay? If possible, try to keep bitten extremity of the body level with the person lying. Raising it can cause that. You see what I said? If possible, try to identify the snake. If possible, kill and take the snake along with you to the hospital. No ice or any other type of cooling on the bite. Research has shown this to be potentially harmful because once you thaw it, it comes rushing into the blood. Instead of the blood being able to deal with it over a period of time, like the poison is going into the blood slowly, if you try to isolate it and then it thaws, it's going into your bloodstream faster. No tourniquets. This cuts the blood flow completely and may result in loss of the affected limb. No electric shocks. This method is still being researched and is yet to be proven effective. It could harm the victim. No incisions in the womb. If done incorrectly, it could cause further injury. And of course, this is the polyvalent anti-snake venoms. It tells you the different doses that you need for specific types of bites. Okay? So snake repellent, if you want to keep them off of you or keep them from around you while you're in the woods, clove oil, cinnamon oil, cedar oil, sulfur, and fuller's earth. Okay? We deal with clove oil, we deal with Young Living essential oils are excellent as well. So you can use these along with them. Always keep that with you anyway, okay? And there's this word here. Why is it that they are repellents? There's something called a Jacobson's organ in snakes. It's used with the tongue to sense the environment. The snake flicks out its tongue to pick up the scent or the vapor molecules, or what they call philately. When the snake pulls its tongue, the vapor molecules are transferred to the odor sensitive, what they call Jacobson's organs. And if it's not tasty, it'll keep them going away. They'll go away from it. Okay? Okay, I just want to get these done. Right. So they have naturopathic first aid, general bandages, herbal medicines for you to have. Take your pictures of them so that you can have these. Bach flower remedies for those that you need. Rescue remedy, rock rose, excellent. Homeopathics for trauma. Herbal medicines, aloe vera, calendula cream and tincture, chamomile tincture, ginger root, peppermint tea, and the peppermint oils we find is much, much better. Raw honey, garlic oil, safety pins, small teasers. Here they are, take the pictures of them. Nosebleeds, nervous tissue injury. I told you there's a lot that I was putting together here in different categories, but they're all related to our conditions and circumstances today. Headaches, for chamomile, broken bones. Okay?
Yes. Okay.
We're almost done. Cuts, scrapes, and bruises. Powdered herbs for the backpack. Know how to use your herbs. Research your herbs, please, family. Don't just take them at the first value. Find out what their feelings are, what you feel, how you take them, what they do to you. Always have some cayenne on hand, especially when heart attacks happen. It opens up the valve for more blood to get in. Insect bites. You see, I told you it was a lot. I felt that, how to deal with tear gas. All right? Oh yeah, there's a little more on tear gas, pepper spray.
How are we going to get out?
That's you. You have to start learning how to do for self and then teach others. I'm just showing you what it is. How to, when you're getting into a crowd, when the police are coming at you and they have their pepper spray and their different types of anti-personnel with gas, here are some of the ways to deal with it. How to draw out splinters. Charcoal for the stomach, make sure it's activated. What about vitamins? Average multiple violence is trash. Vitamins are garbage. Vitamins are garbage. They're fractionated. The body does not deal with fractionated materials. It deals with it as a drug. Anything that does not have a synergistic connection to the consciousness of the body is rejected as a drug. An apple alone, just an apple alone, okay, has 12,000 nutrients. 12,000 nutrients. Just an apple. Here they are. Just an apple a day will what? That's why we do this. Y'all need to get in with it. If you all are interested in really knowing what the time it is, here it is. Take pictures of this for real. Here's what's missing in a lot of our nutrients. That's what is contained in there. Apple, Osceola cherries, cranberries, orange, papaya, peach, pineapple, tomatoes, oat bran. This is what they are in their natural states. They have a higher rating than the organic rating given by the FDA. It's NSF, National Safety Foundation. It's what the Olympics use. And this is what the vegetable is, fruit, vegetables, and berries. You just had the fruits, vegetable. This is the most thoroughly researched nutraceutical in history. It is gold standard. It has gone through all of the gold standards for what it is. Any product that's being sold to you that has not gone through the gold standard testing, you don't need it, because it's not a whole food. Juice Plus does not have a vitamin label, a supplement label. It has a nutrition label, the way they put it on food. So therefore, you're taking Juice Plus, you're not taking a vitamin that's fractionated, you're taking whole food. That's why we have it stocked in our house, just in case anything happens. We'll dump in the Juice Plus just in case they cut down the food. And it's the cheapest way of getting your products too. Now here's something that you don't know about as far as your baby is concerned. It's called the APGAR testing. APGAR scorings are deep, but it's what they do to check the reactions of your baby when it's first born. Juice Plus always gets an 8 and a 9 and 9.5. 10 is the highest. Juice Plus babies always come up in the 8.5 and 9.5s. Proven in time to reduce inflammation, reduce free radical damage, reduce DNA or protect DNA, less damage, and so forth. Let's go forward some more. Now available in 23 countries, and 4 of those countries, France, Germany, Australia, choose Juice Plus as the only supplement for their Olympic teams in 2012. The only one. And am I proselytizing? Yes, I am. So I'm closing this out very quickly so that you have the number to get in contact with us. And that is our logo. That's our seal. We do have a seal. So anybody who's talking about putting together a university, we were there. We were the first online university, period, in the country. First. Everybody is copying our model. They're even charging their students the way we charge our students, the same way, even fractionalizing it month by month. We did that. We started our university 11 years ago online, but we started the Thai University at least 32 years ago in Brooklyn, New York. So you have the number here, and of course I was asked by our sister. Oh, wait a minute, I'm going back in the wrong direction. Pardon me. I was asked by our sister to let you know that my book, The Wounded Womb, is available for it. And I'm here. Ladies and gentlemen, Shimon Motep, which means thank you, beloved. And we ask you to do what? We ask you to walk in light. And what it is that the war is taking a toll on when it takes a toll on our systems. So the brothers too, they get benefit from the book, The Wounded Womb. And I get a lot of brothers that buy it, so I was told that we should go ahead. And if anybody is here, is looking for The Wounded Womb, whoever calls me, no matter where it is, and if they're not from here, I'm going to, if you have a surplus of books, I'm going to give them your number to purchase from you until you run out.
Thank you.
Okay? Because she went and bought my books. And if it is expensive because it took something like 15 years to complete. After I researched it in the beginning, it came out as a book when Queen Afua and I did something called The Sacred Woman. And, oh, okay. Oh, it's popular. Of course it is.
No, I was thinking what the trainer, so.
Oh, okay, beautiful. Well, the Sacred Woman was actually the goddess principle until I changed it to the Sacred Woman. And I wrote the 12 principles of the Sacred Woman, which can be seen in her book, Heal Thyself. And I wrote that as an anniversary gift to her. But the 12 principles of the Sacred Woman and all of that, I broke the wounded womb because we were doing experimentations on women healing themselves by lessening their menstrual flow. And women began to drop their fibroids, got rid of. A woman came to us with the substance that was the breast cancer. She brought it when it broke open in her sleep at night after we put her on the program. It bust through like a big boil, and she brought it to show us that our work was actually on point. So we are very, very proud. We're very, very proud. Thank you. We're very, very proud to have been in the business of teaching people how to heal themselves. You know, I go through changes, but I haven't been sick in 33 years. I have not had an illness. My blood pressure, even though I put on a little bit, is 120 over 12, 140 over 84, 85. I think my diastolic is a little high. But I can teach you how to do that. We have our classes in classical naturopathy as well as part of our university. We were the first to do a lot of things in the community, and a lot of people who seem to be coming along are coming along based upon a trail that was blazed by brothers like myself and my esteemed colleague. Just one more hand for Dr. Africa. Yes.
And we'll do a half hour of Q&A with Dr. Valentine. Thank you.
Yeah, I like warm lighting up by Libra energy, you know. Okay.
Down some more?
Yeah, a little more.
Look down a little more. Down.
There you go. That's good. Okay, these are some of the questions that were offered, and we're going to try to get through all of them. I hope I can read your handwriting. Do you have a facility in which you hold something retreats? Themed retreats. We don't do retreats, we do advances. We don't go back anywhere. Well, we don't do them anymore because we don't have the facility and the places we used to do that. We're working towards getting those kinds of venues, and we're working very hard towards getting into the capitalist system to get back what belongs to us, what's stolen from us. What they call that sovereignty movement, but it's not sovereignty, because sovereignty is bestowed by a monarch. So we're going for our indigenous rights. And a lot of brothers from around here, I don't want to name their names to make them targets, but there's one brother who is now on trend, and you can talk to Sister Bobby privately if you want to know what he's talking about. I don't like putting anybody's names out there, especially one who was my teacher also, giving me information as I'm helping him with information. So we have what is known as a dark matter think tank. We don't do the Tavis Smiley kind of thing, you know, where every talking head, celebrity is yelling and screaming what's wrong with us. And nobody's talking about solutions. Nobody's actually going in to put money into anything. They're just grandstanding for their 15 minutes. So what we do is, the people who run this country, the people who run the world, they do it from behind the scenes. You don't hear them. They go into the Bilderbergers, of course, but you don't go into the Bilderbergers meetings. They don't film it for you. They don't get it for your archives, none of that nonsense. So when real plans are going to be made, they're going to be made behind the scenes, behind closed doors. You'll only know about them when you're able to participate with them, and participate at a level that does not endanger us during the process or cause a mutation during the developmental process, if you know what I mean. Next question, can you tell us more about the vaccination exemption package and how to get it today. We were the first to initiate that back in 1983. We put a package together in New York City that actually caused the Board of Education to take us to court 3 times, and 3 times we won. And our paperwork then, we began extending it when we created a church. The church is called the Temple of the Healing Spirit, and that church is called a church at large. And the church at large essentially is the one that that no matter where you are in the country, if you believe what we believe, you're part of the church. You don't have to come to Sunday meeting to shout down or anything like that. So we have a technical church called the Temple of the Healing Spirit, under which we put our university. So like Tulane or Oral Roberts, who has a university, we do too. But we deal with Archimetic physical principles, and we deal with our culture. And again, our catchphrase is, what we put underneath our logo, the mission is mastery. That's what you're going to have. We're going to have t-shirts. That's why we're building ourselves, t-shirts, cups, mugs, jackets, windbreakers, so that if you're an alumnus, you'll be very proud to have attended our online university until such time as we begin to put the cornerstones for building one in stone. You can get hold of one with the number, just calling the number 800-847-1291. It's on the card that you received. The other thing is that there are 3 states where you might have a problem. And we tell you first and foremost that you could do this yourself. Okay, we've done this for others because a lot of people don't have the ability to do the research for themselves. So what we did was we put together the package for those who couldn't, but we're telling you, you could now. I've seen a lot of my paperwork online. A lot of Europeans have been putting this out as well. But we put together this package for our brothers and sisters, the first package of its kind before any black organization or anyone was putting it out for our people. We were doing that. And the Mississippi, West Virginia, California, and New York are the hardest places, give you the hardest times. So it doesn't mean that you can't do it, but they will tell you that they don't recognize it. Matter of fact, I had one of my young students, 19 years of age, who was signing up for the University of Mississippi. He called me from the bursar's office, and they were telling him he couldn't do this. I told them no, couldn't do this, and I gave them the laws, the rules, the regulations, and so forth. And he was one of the first young people to be allowed into the University of Mississippi without a vaccination. So we back you up. Once you have paid the tithe, as we call it, because we're a church, we become your advisor, your spiritual advisor, but also quietly and undertone your legal advisor as well. Okay, so it's a good. We get the families get the discount. The individuals, of course, cost more, but it's little compensation for what you get in the long run, because you are a member of our church for life with that paperwork. Okay, so hopefully that answered the question. I'll answer any questions that may have dovetailed from these questions if we have the time. Do they offer vaccine exemption in California? Yes, I have been sending it out to California because I have a letter that Jerry, what's his name, California, Jerry Brown wrote that exempts you, but they're not telling you about this letter. It's a letter he wrote to the assembly stating that you still have your religious rights to say no, but they are actually being pressured by the pharmaceuticals to say that you have no more rights, and that you have to do this, you're compelled to do that. No, you're not. You're not compelled to do anything that you don't want to. And you should not have to do what they say about telling you your religion. In other words, they'll tell you, well, write down what you believe. Right then, they're putting you in their jurisdiction, because if you were to go and write down what you believe, then they can now say, you've placed that out there for us to judge whether or not you can get it. But then there's the law. The law states that you do not have to conform to any religious belief, because that's what they're doing, to get a public service. You should not be denied religious public service because of your religious beliefs. And anyone who starts giving you questions about your religion, that's tantamount to what is known as an inquisition. Okay, so inquisitions were banned. UCC filing, secured party creditor, still valid? Yes, it is, if it's done correctly. The UCC is not one to, I'm going to have a little fluoride for a little bit. The UCC is still valid, UCC 1. I don't take it lightly that anybody just goes into it. Don't play with that, because if you dishonor yourself, they'll put you in jail. If you dishonor yourself. So I know a brother, a very powerful brother. He's now sitting at the table in Dubai based upon his paperwork, based on the fact that he has now acquired his bond and he's using it as collateral. He is now up to be receiving anywhere in the avenue of $160 million per month based on a rice deal that he has cut with that particular bond in India to sell to Russia. So I am at his feet. And once I have learned what he has said to me, and that happens here, I will definitely be sharing it very quietly with only a few. You cannot make this public because this is all private information. Private is the word. It's on the other side. It's on the asset side of the ledger, not the debt side, not the slave side. And there's a brother here, I will not call his name and do not take pictures of him, but this brother is on track with the same science. He's standing against the wall. I don't want to point him out, but he is there. He's very quietly there doing the work. And if you want to know who he is, not just the usual suspects, you can ask Sister Bobby, because again, I don't put people out there like that. I don't endanger people's lives who's actually doing the real revolutionary work. Okay? So yes, UCC filing I do recommend, but if it's done correctly and properly, you can gain the bond, or at least as an indigenous, you have to definitely now go beyond the UCC. UCC is just about how to operate in commerce. Okay, that's all it is. Paperwork is nothing more than cargo. In other words, you're a ship. Your body is a ship. It's a vessel. Well, so is the piece of paper that has instructions written on it. That paper that is passed along is a vessel carrying cargo. The cargo happens to be information. So we went from the golden age to the bronze age to the paper age. So you understand that you're in the paper age today. So yes, the UCC is valid if you're using it for the purpose of commerce and you know how to operate in commerce properly. And add to that your indigenous status. Your autochthonous status is extremely important. As far as Moors are concerned, I don't like the word Moor anymore, even though it's valid, because Moor is actually, if you look at it and the way it's used, it's a derivative of the Greeks. And it is a description, it's a descriptive adjective, it is not a noun. So it's always qualified by the specific people. So you have the Umayyad Moors, you have the Amexim Moors. So you're not just a Moor, you're not just an adjective, you have a people, which is the noun, and it's the noun that counts. The adjective is the action that the noun takes, and that's it. So if you understand the way language is made, you understand that the metaphysics we teach is a relanguaging of reality. So we teach how to relanguage, and UCC is metaphysics. Okay? Like above, or about males, Y chromosome, female X, Y. I'm not sure what that means. Is there a Western society lie, or a lie, about males being Y chromosomes and females being X with XY? Is male really XX DNA and female really Y DNA? What DNA is hermaphrodite? The Y chromosome, what they call the male Y chromosome, they're going to be finding out. A lot of times the feminists and feminist-oriented men began saying that the Y chromosome was a deformed X. There's no such thing as XX and XY. These are abstracts. But what they derive and deal with, when we deal with the masculine and feminine, the yin and the yang, I don't deal with genetics and chromosomes. The word chromosomes means, chroma means light, some means body. So chromosomes are the light bodies that actually are what's radiating and giving you your aura. That's the outward the inward irradiation. So I don't put any stock in the Europeans' technologies and what they state, but I do tell you that the so-called deformed X is not deformed at all. The Y chromosome is a determinative. The Y chromosome sees what needs to be enhanced and uses the fertile soil of the female chromosome in order to advance the people in the species. So the Y chromosome is the determinative. That's why they want to kill it. The X chromosome can be used. You can derive male features from the X chromosome, but you don't have a real male. Okay, you have something that can be derived from, or it can be derived. They say, well, the woman had the first body. No, that's ridiculous. What came before the chicken and the egg? Can somebody tell me? What came before? What came before, the chicken or the egg? See, you don't get that question. What came before the chicken? What came before the chicken or the egg? The idea. The cosmic idea. The cosmic intention to be. And if the cosmic intention to be is both, then they both came at the same damn time. They came out of the one. The one split into two. So to tell me one is superior to the other is bullshit. Okay, so when you're dealing with understanding higher metaphysics, or you're dealing with the occult and the arcane sciences of your ancestors, they're not dealing with the European's mindset. The European mindset is dealing with what we call in our school, and in my book, The Wounded Womb, I speak about the way the European thinks. He deals with what is called impositional analysis. Do you know what the word to impose means? Okay, well, impositional analysis states that I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing. I'm going to tell you what that thing is, based upon what my limited perception and concepts are. So impositional analysis is based upon what the European takes, and he defines what he thinks, he describes what he thinks he knows, but he doesn't define it. To describe something is just to see the surface of it and its actions. To define it is to know its essence. So if he understood the essence of anything, he would now know that anytime you start to fractionate and do all these games that he's playing with his words and digging into the body and taking out the quarks and the cells and all that, he's ridiculous. He's a child who doesn't know what he's doing. He's wrecking the atmosphere and everything to see what it is it's made of, when your ancestors only had to wait. So there's a difference between impositional analysis, as we teach, and there's one that deals with synergistic analysis. That's your people. Instead of you imposing your will upon what you are examining, you wait for it to tell you what it is. So now that's why you'll be able to talk with the animals when you had a language with the animals, but you lost that particular language. You lost how to speak that language because you started listening to the world the way the white man taught you, through impositional analysis. So when I tell my students, look up, there's something up there that's doing this with two appendages from outside of his body, and it just seems to stay aloft while you're looking at it. What's the first thing comes to mind? Bird. Yes. But is it a bird? Wait a minute now, is it a bird? There's one of my students, is it a bird? It's not a bird. You want to know why? That's a description that tells you what it is you think it is. So what you've done is, instead of having a first-hand experience, you're having a second-hand experience through what you think is defined as a bird. It's not a bird. You've lost everything. You've lost the connectedness to the experience by telling you that's a bird. It's not a bird. That's a description of what it is you think it is. It's the way the European comes down and says everything down. He wants a barcode on every living thing so that he can own it. When you name it, you own it. That's why he was whipping the hell out of Kunta Kinte and telling him his name was Toby. Well, he did that to your mind when he gave you the English language and started whipping your psyche with his language. And now you don't know how to define anything. Too busy looking at surfaces. So the Y chromosome and the X chromosome, these are the yin and the yang. They are intrinsic to each. That's why if you look at the yin and yang circle, what do you see? Black and white, check. What do you see in the black? What do you see in the white? What size is the white and the black that is in the black and the white? No. little tiny. That means that the female is in stasis in the male, and the male is in stasis in the female. And the two, in their actions and the radiation of those energies, bring them into one consolidated unit. But they stay one. The evidence of the unitary purpose and what the Creator has created within you, the evidence is in that little small place that you are all one. But in the realm of duality, it is the two that create the unity. In the realm of unity, you could not do that because it's all one. So in metaphysical thinking, you have to go past the way that your eyes and your limited senses are telling you. There's no Y or X chromosome. There is only the yin and yang operating on their own dynamic frequencies, period. Can you elaborate on the flat albealic? Preston Nichols and Al Bielek, if you're familiar, one was with the Montauk experiment, and the other one was with the Philadelphia experiment. And I invited them to our gatherings of the masters, and they told me behind the scenes that even they don't speak about it. There's things that they're not supposed to do. And this guy, Edward Dyson, whatever his name is, he's a shill, a 33-degree Mason is a shill to keep the so-called global Earth thing, just going to Mars and all this nonsense. They're not going anywhere. They can't go anywhere. But your ancestors talked about a plane of existence. And if you want to talk about a plane of existence, think about this. No matter how high up you go in the air, there's always a flat horizon. Why is that? They show you that if you were to take one of those measures, you ever see these people who are measuring the land and seeing the scope of the land, you see them on the side, right, surveyors? Well, if you look at the surveyor, they're measuring the distances between certain drop-off points and so forth. Well, they find that there is no curvature on the earth. If you go up a certain amount of inches for feet, then that means there's supposed to be a coordinated drop-off. Every time you go up, you're supposed to go to see the earth go down. So the higher up you are, the more you see the curvature. But the higher up you go, you always see the horizontal line right there in front of you. Why is that? That's because the plane keeps going out, straight out. And in a book called the Or-Ashape, they speak about that there is a plane of existence where Osiris or Osar sits, and its energy is so powerful that you have to crawl into its presence. You have to do it like once every lifetimes, or once every eon. You're supposed to take one step towards that because of the intensity of the light, and your body and what you're made of is not strong enough to be able to tolerate it. All of these legends are what your ancestors left until the Roman Church came and began to skewer the consciousness of the planet. So understand that the plane itself, and I'm giving you that as just a simple way of you looking at it. If you go up to go to your highest building here. What's the highest building here in Sacramento? Is there a specific place? Okay. Are there is anyone live on, work in a skyscraper? Anybody work in a skyscraper?
I said Sheridan was coming.
Yeah, well, when you go up, say if you go up to a 34th or 35th floor, or even the 50th floor, you're supposed to, if you're up that high, you're supposed to see the buildings that's sitting there doing this. Because if you're on a ball, you're supposed to, it's supposed to all go around like this. Okay, but they tell you gravity is doing it. Even Tesla, he was the one man that I would say the Europeans produced that was a real scientist. Einstein was a joke. E equals MC squared, they teaching our children? A joke. Tesla, teach your children what he learned and what he put down before George Bush Sr. killed him in New York City. Okay, so know exactly what it is about gravity. It doesn't exist. It has no real premise. It's electromagnetism. That's it. Electromagnetism is the cohesive force. It is the cohesive force of the etherium that you are in. You are in a conditioned zone of experience, and that conditioned zone of experience is compressed in 10 layers. Those 10 layers are actually seen in what is known as the Hebrew Sephiroth, what they talk about the Kabbalah. What they talk about in they show you it going down in these spheres from Ketha all the way down to Malkuth. That's not it. That's an abstract. They are actually layered like that. And you can't get through it. Okay? And that compression zone, it creates a compression zone that inside you have your atmosphere where you live, move, and have your being. Now, I know that sounds crazy. It sounds insane. Yeah, I know. Wrap your head around that. What HZ, what megahertz does a healthy body vibrate to? And what hertz level does a sick one vibrate to? Okay. Let me ask you a question. 325, 425? You want to talk about megahertz and energies? Let me ask you, what is your thought patterns? Because this is something they don't tell you about megahertz. Do you know you can change the megahertz of your body just by thinking? So it ain't got nothing to do with them measuring you. It's the European man again saying, ooh, let me just check and see what it is. Let me see what this is. We don't need to do all that. It's not necessary to really get into the minutiae of whether or not you're going to be, okay, am I vibrating on the right thing? Let me test myself. Oh, I'm not vibrating on the right thing. You know how you feel? What they're doing is they're getting you slowly but surely away from the first technologies and the mindset and the motherboard that you are, that has all the information in there. They're getting you accustomed to becoming accustomed and dependent on technology. They're not teaching you that you are the technology that they're mimicking. And they keep mimicking melanin by putting on these exoskeletons and getting you all fascinated with these movies where these people are putting on exoskeletons that makes them more powerful. What do you think the exoskeleton is representative of? It makes us supermen, superwomen. They know that. So the whole thing is, this whole technology today is to enhance a recessive creature. Okay? Okay, about to close up. How are lawyers not apart from under the laws of the United States Corporation? That's because they take the oath, and they take an oath to not reveal that we're living in a bankrupt society, and that they are part of and became beholden to the City of London. The City of London is where the bar or the British help me. No, British something registry. Yeah, British Affiliation Registry. Well, the Bar Association is nothing but a club. But once you become a member of the bar, you are no longer a U.S. citizen, and therefore you don't have any kind of duty to the U.S. citizen. They don't care. If you take on a lawyer, that means that you have diminished capacity in your brain. Why? Because he's not a U.S. citizen. His first duty is to the court, to the judge, to the laws of the land, to the secrets that deal with the Federal Reserve, and sixth is you. So his first duty is to the next counselor next to him, not to you. Where do Europeans come from? We're still trying to figure that out. How to avoid the consumption of fluoride. There is a product. Call me on that phone if you wanted to know. There is a product out of Australia. It's a picture because my wife and I we triple purify our water, and the last purification one that we have is a fluoride filter. So if you want to know more about how to deal with getting fluoride out of your water and not just the heavy materials, give me a call to that particular number. And I'm trying to finish everything off. How can a desire be a birth defect? A desire? Desires are based on energy, and I know you're asking about homosexuality. Desires are an energy, and they're dealing with polarity. So if you're dealing with polarities, you're dealing with a specific instrument, you're looking at yourself as a computer. And if you're looking at yourself as a computer, know that your wiring and all of the nerves that are wired are dealing with hormonal information that is based upon the design. Remember, design denotes function. So if the design and the function, as far as you desiring a person sexually, and they're telling you you don't have to worry about it, just go after your feelings, it means that there is something going on in the wiring, and it's also being held in your food. Understand, if you don't feel like a woman and you want to be with a woman as a woman, or if you're a man and you're feeling sexually attracted to a man, know that your wirings are being crossed purposely, not just by the fact that you were going with a congenital disease, but because the support matrix within which you live, with the vectors that are coming at you through the food, the air, the water, everything that's going there is contributing to undermining the integrity of what you were created to be. So it's easy to blend the polarity, which is yin and yang, and the way that you keep balance is that the two of them function within the design. If you are telling me that the design and the desires are now blending towards a center, that means that you're going all the way off of the equilibrium of Ma'at. And what's going on inside of you that's causing you to be desirable of that is because the hormones, whatever it is crossing your wiring. I know it sounds like, well, how could that be? I feel this is genuine. It's love, and if it's being expressed, it's love. No, you got to look at yourself, and most insane people think they're sane. It has its own form of legitimizing its insanity by saying it's sane for acting insane. So if you're dealing with that kind of mentality, they're not going to sit down from here. Most homosexual arguments are based in emotion, not in logic. They don't have anything to do with the fact that they are terminal creatures. A homosexual is terminal, and nature is not terminal. Nature does not create its own demise. Listen to what I'm saying to you. When a heterosexual male and a heterosexual female come together, listen carefully to this. Nature has put them together to continue. If a male and a female begin creating creatures unlike themselves, that is the point path to extinction. So what if a heterosexual man, heterosexual woman came together, and something went on in the congenital process that created a homosexual? How does that line go forward? What happens to that now when that man does not want to be with a woman? What are you doing? You are making a terminus. That is a terminal creature. That creature will not exist beyond that person's point. It is elaborate, it's now blurring, it's flaring up, and there's a big bang, and then that's it. It disappears. It's out of the genetic stream. But they want you to do that. They want you to embrace that terminal behavior, because they want to crop the population. They don't need us anymore. They wanted us to work the cotton fields. We did. They want us to work the industrial fields. We did. We went up into the boardrooms. We did. And now that they've mechanized everything, they don't need you. So what you are is a surplus human. You're a useless eater and a useless breeder. So what do? They begin to create the dynamics for making sure that you cannot continue. And if you do, they will cripple you in the womb. So you have to understand that I am not against the human creature that has these disorders. I'm a doctor. But I will not tolerate them telling me that this is the way humanity proceeds to the next stage of its development. That's bullshit. That somebody has an agenda when they don't want me to get together with my woman and forward the race, forward the human species. You want a terminal creature that is around dancing around with flowers and fluff and stuff like that and saying that he's so creative. Yes, he's creative. But the ultimate creation is to bring life. And don't let them call you a breeder either, because they're just as contemptuous of us.
Are you talking about the Illuminati?
No, I'm not talking about Illuminati. There's people above the Illuminati. There's a whole circle of people that the Illuminati work for. The Illuminati is nothing more than the board members. They know, with them flashing the sign, all that. You think the ones who rule the world is up there going, yeah, come on down. Come on. There's a group of people. There are a group of people above them that constitute the bloodlines of the Ptolemies. The Ptolemies are the popes, and they're the ones who are elected. They're the what is known as the incunabula. Those are the rulers.
So it's Trump's like.
Okay,
Hmm?
okay, now, what
Yeah.
I'd like to do, and you can continue, but there are some announcements and just a few little housekeeping things. And I think some people wait for him to sign the book.
Yeah.
And then he can, like I said, I still got the key